Hello and welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Voodoo Val, and I am going to be your host this morning for another Creative Cloud Express challenge. I'm super pumped to kind of dive into what we've got planned for today. I think it's going to be really fun. If you folks are going to be tuning in later for the replay, be sure to check out the episode that we will have right after this. We're going to be doing kind of a theme for this week. And real quick, I'm going to show you a little bit about that after I let you know where you can dive into to kind of get involved with me today. So let's pop over here to the adobe.com/express page. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Creative Cloud Express, you can scroll through here, check out a list of all of these super awesome features and all that good stuff that will let you know what you can do within Creative Cloud Express. And then you can hit this Start for Free button here, which will take you to where you can dive in and start creating a project. So today what we're going to be working on is creating infographics and Instagram stories and things, but with a little bit of a twist. That's going to be the theme for the week, is taking infographics or basic layout structures that you've probably seen before and trying to spice them up a little bit. So we are going to hit this big pink and purple button up here just to start an Instagram story. If you'd like to do something different, you can grab a custom size graphic for yourself. You can grab something from your templates and so on. But we're going to go ahead and click Instagram story just so we start out with a brand new canvas that is already set up to the ratio we need for our project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out our story the way you would expect first off. So I'm going to add a background just with our backgrounds button here. I'm going to go into organic and warped stripes because I'm really liking the look and vibe of these. And I'm just going to drop in one of these backgrounds that I like and pin it to background. And I like to pin it to background just so that it's not its own little static image that I can accidentally move. I can pan it around, but it will always stick to the background of my my file here. And I'm just going to land it on kind of a cool aspect here that I like with some good warped lines in view. And then what I'm going to do is tone it down a little bit. So one of my favorite filters to use when I'm working is let me come in here to design. Actually, let's go into colors. Let me make sure I have this selected. Okay, so I'm going to hit filters, and I love to use duotone. You can come in and use any of these other like multiply and darken and all of these things, but I like duotone because I can really get in and change exactly what I want to change. So I'm going to change this background to just a pure black. And then for the highlights, I'm actually going to put this on just a very subtle gray so that you can't really see much in the background. I want like this subtle texture of this background, but I don't want it to be too loud because we're going to get pretty crazy with this layout. All right, so we've got our background. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add in some shapes. I think that everyone who has probably seen a Instagram story, it kind of has a formula to it, right? You can come in and grab a rectangle because typically I think your standard Instagram story, if we rotate this around with our little rotation handle that comes out here when we add a shape, you typically have, this ratio of a Instagram story. You have kind of a rectangle in the center here that is going to kind of affect where your text is going to be. You'll have your title and so on. So we're going to place all of that in here, and then we're going to break some rules, which I'm very excited about. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to change this fill. We're going to make it match. So I'm just going to scroll into the black here for our fill. And then for our border, I'm going to choose a bright color that we may choose a different one later on. I'm just going to choose something that kind of pops. And then you can come down here and you can actually edit how wide this border is going to be. I might leave it on like a 5, and I can scroll through and find it, or you can type in the region here and decide which you would like. You can change the opacity of your shapes and things as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at 100% because that works for me. And so now that we have our background and we have our shape, that we're going to put our text into, we're going to spice it up a little bit by breaking this border, because I love the standard Instagram story layout. It's very easy to understand, but I do like to break the borders and the frames and things that I add in just to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's come into design assets, and you can come through here and you can select, from the trending, you can go into effects groups, which are really interesting. I'll just preview this real quick. If you add in an effects group, you can see this gives me this little group here in my layers that has effects applied onto it. So if I want to place this over something, you can see how it affects that. I don't really need this, so I'm just going to, with that selected, I'm just going to hit my little trash delete button there. But you can get graphic groups, illustrations, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to use the search bar here, and I'm just going to type in planets, because I should probably spell planets right. Because I want to use some cool planets and things. We're going to get very otherworldly here today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place some planets in a manner that kind of overlaps and underlaps with my frame, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I am going to just start clicking and dropping in some of these nifty planets, some of these cool ones that I like. I think that's looking good. And I'm going to leave them ungrouped for now, but I am going to kind of place some of these around, just resizing them as I go. And I'm just going to add them to the corners and the insides and outsides of this frame, just to give us kind of an interesting vibe with our frame here. So maybe we'll move this one down here actually, so that we're not super symmetrical with our piece. I might move this one there just to give us a larger bit right there. I might rotate that around like so, because this one is not a perfect circle. Maybe we will put this one over here. I'm thinking maybe a little one in the corner here, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to underneath, I'm going to just select our background here. Underneath, I'm going to add in some other planets that kind of underlap with our frame. So I'm just going to go ahead and click some of these, I would say more neutral colored planets. We'll just put that right there. And then I'm going to drag this underneath our frame, so it just peeks out right there. It's kind of, oops, I didn't want to move our frame. Let's go ahead and put that back there. Make sure I'm grabbed onto my planet. And I'm just going to put that right under there. We can grab another one that's a little more mellow, maybe this one right here. Throw that in there. And then we'll put this one underneath here over on our corner. I think that would look nice. Just kind of organize these so that we have a nice little arrangement, if you will, of some interesting shapes and colors. We might even grab this one, because I don't think we have this one in our lineup yet. And I will shrink that down, and I'm going to let that little yellow bit peek out over here, and then we will drag that down in our lineup. Now what you can do is to kind of organize this a little bit. I highly recommend that you pay attention to your layers and group some things, just to keep stuff very organized. So if I select all of these planets that are up top, all I'm doing is holding Shift and selecting the ones that I want to be in a group. I can come up here and hit Group or Control or Command G, depending on if you're working on a Mac, just to have those grouped all together. I can come in and hold Shift and make sure I select these ones in the background here, and I can do the same thing. So now I've got these nice groups in my layers that show I have my top planets and my bottom planets all lined up, which just adds a little more extra oomph, I think, to our standard layout here. I can also come back to my frame and I want to change the color of my border. I'm going to actually use my eyedropper tool and I'm going to click and I'm going to find a color, maybe this pink, that is just very similar, something that's used in a lot of our planets, just to make this a little more cohesive. And I like it. I think that's going to work for us. So we've got that like color there, and then we're going to play with text. So your standard text, I think, is obvious that it kind of goes in the center here. And then we can put a title up here to let everybody know what we're talking about for this graphic. But what I want to do is spice it up even further than just plain text, and you get what you get, sort of. So we're going to come in here and you can go through your social, your logos, seasonal, and find any of these pre-made cool lockups and things if you would like, but I am going to create my own text. Just go ahead and add my own text. And I am going to, right up here in our edit text region, I am just going to, with caps locks on, say Mercury. If I can spell Mercury right. I am a designer. I am not a great speller, so bear with me. Okay, pretty sure that's how you spell Mercury. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a solid white, and I'm going to place it down in here. And we're going to make this a little bit fancy. Okay, we're going to come in and maybe with a shadow would be interesting. We can change our shadow to our lovely pink color, which we can find in our suggested. Typically, if you sample a color, it will give it to you here for other elements of your project. So we're just going to use our sampled pink color, and I may change the layout of this just a little bit. But you can see it gives it kind of a nice little shadow on our word there, just to spice it up a little bit. And we are going to spice this up further, but I'm going to add in all of my text for my project first before I do this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our own text, and we are going to create a little text box that just has some information about Mercury in it. So I'm going to center align this text, and I'm just going to write something real quick. I'm gonna write information about the planet. Oh, I don't know if I want this in caps though. Information about the planet Mercury. All right, and then I am going to, just to kind of give us some like a body of text, I'm going to copy and paste this a few times. I don't think we needed that many, maybe 3 is good. And we will crank our text down just so it's smaller, maybe not that small, maybe we bring it up to like a 60 could work. Let's take our shadow off because I don't think we need our shadow. We might bump this up to, let's try like a 120 point for this text. Let's see if that works. That's a little too big. Let's try a 100. Just kind of mess around, maybe an 80. That'll work. That'll work for me. So I'm just gonna make this a little bit wider and throw our information right in here. And now we can add a little bit of pizzazz to it. Okay, we're gonna make it a little fancy. Before that though, I do want to jump in and check and see if anyone is joining me in the live chat today, and if any of you folks have any questions. So welcome in everyone who is joining for the live chat. Keep in mind, if you folks are watching this replay, you can always come back to the YouTube channel or to Behance and check out that replay. If you are interested in checking out the episodes that are going to be happening more this week, you can always find them archived on Behance or on YouTube. So there's always a place where you can get a hold of our past broadcasts and things. Good to see you, Cody Bear, PJ, hello, Nourish, CJ, welcome in. It's good to see all of you folks. I see Felix and Merch, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us, as well as Tyrone. It's good to see you. Welcome in, Tyrone. Let me know if you folks have any questions. I would love to answer any questions as I go through here. For those of you who are asking what we're using today, we are working in Creative Cloud Express, which you folks can find if you just head over to adobe.com/express, and you can hit this start for free button, which will jump you right into the homepage where you can start picking out templates and all that good stuff and start designing on your own. All right, so we're going to spice up this template just a little bit further, and I'm going to do this first with adding some animation. We're going to add a little bit of animation over here. And you can do this very easily by just clicking your animation button on the side, and you can literally just choose from all of these cool text animations. So you can do typewriter is kind of a cool one. So it just will kind of type it out for you and have your main text kind of appear, which is pretty fun. And then another thing that you can do is if I select my body of text right here, something that I really, really love to do is I like to come in and let me see if I can. I want to do something interesting here. Yes, so I want to add a highlight. So just there, it had next to main style, it had a little plus button, which I've clicked to add a highlight. And the highlight is really fun. So I can actually highlight different points in my text if I have little points of information that I want people to focus on throughout my template that I create or throughout my graphic that I post to social media. So all I have to do is I can just click on words here, and it will give me these interesting little brackets that will allow me to, like for example, here, if I click here, maybe I want to extend this highlight out to the word Mercury, and I can click on, obviously I'm not clicking on words in this lockup that really make much sense because we're just doing a test today, but it will allow me to do just kind of an interesting highlight on little points of interest. If there are certain pieces of information that I want my viewers or the customers of my brand that I'm developing to stick out to them or stay with them after they're done interacting with my graphic. This is a great way to do it. So that's something that I just love to do. I think I'm also going to add maybe one more line of text to my main info here. Let's go ahead and add it. And I'm going to click on our main text, and I'm just going to, let me get out of highlight and go back into main style. I'm just gonna shrink it down just a little bit because I kind of want a little bit more in here. And I'm wondering if it might look better if we left align this. I don't know. Maybe we'll make it wider. Sometimes you kind of have to noodle with it to find, okay, that might work. That's pretty, I would say, very uniform, which maybe we want uniform for our text. So I'll just add another line or two. Let's kind of shrink that in again and make it uniform. Ooh, there we go. And then I'll throw this in here and we can resize from the center and throw that in there. I might noodle with it a little bit more if I had a tiny bit more time for today to mess with it, but there's still a couple of things that I want to do. I am going to add a little bit more highlight to the rest of this. I'm going to click that off because I think I want to remove portions. So you can drag these brackets around if you wish, but you can also do what I'm doing here, which is just clicking, and you can click on and off if you want. So I can just click about and then I can click the again, and it will unhighlight it for me. So you don't actually have to do a lot of dragging and dropping if you don't want to. It's not 100% necessary to do it that way. And then the last thing I want to do is I'm going to resize our Mercury just a little bit. So I'm just going to drag this out from the corner because I think that we could give this a little bit more space if we wanted to. And then I want to add a little tagline of sorts to our piece. So I'm going to come in and say text, add your text. And I am going to call this, just as a placeholder, I'm going to call this tagline, and then a period, and then logo, just to give us a little bit of information. I might also use something more like a typewriter font could be cool, something that's a little more handwritten could be interesting. Maybe this one could be cool because it's just kind of condensed and in italics. Maybe that could be interesting. So we could just add our little tagline here because we've got a little empty space here where some more information could go. So let's line that up with our text there. And then another thing I would like to do very much is let's add a little logo. So we can just come into shapes. I think a great logo placeholder for something like this would be just a star. So we're going to go ahead and fill this in with a star. Let's search for stars. I think this is perfect. Just something teeny tiny like this. I'm going to go ahead and make this as small as I can. And we'll just place that right there. Just a little bit of something. Apologies for some of the errors coming up. I'm going to make sure that for our next lesson that I don't have any of those issues. But if you are working alongside me today, feel free to just continue on because you probably are not having those show up for you. It is something that is unique to me only. So do not fret. All right, we'll just put that just like that. And I'm going to change that to white as well. So let's go ahead and fill that with white. Just so we have, a little logo area down here. So we've got our highlight, we've got our interesting planets and things, which I might even edit just a little bit, just to, kind of break the boundaries of this even more, just to give us some little floater planets. But this is, I like it. For me, I think this is a good start to kind of breaking the boundaries of your usual Instagram story. Tomorrow, or if you folks are watching replays, you can easily find the next challenge in a row for what's coming next. If you just look through our videos, either on Behance or on YouTube. Tomorrow, we are going to actually be jumping into kind of doing the same thing along the similar theme, but we're going to not use any of your standard design I guess, requirements for an infographic at all. This is kind of a foray into breaking the boundaries, kind of doing things that break your usual borders. And tomorrow we are going to be using our assets that you can find within Creative Cloud Express to create literally a work of art. We're going to be working with creating scenes and landscapes with our shapes and our animations and our planets and all that good stuff, and still making it a form and functional graphic for information to share on social media. I'm very excited about it. I hope you all will join me. But that's what we've got for today. If you wanted to, I suppose, real quick, maybe we can pan back over. You can actually share this. If you like, you can come over here to share and you can make a template here. So if you'd like to make your own custom template, you can, which would be awesome. You can make a template that you can open. You can make a template that you can share so that you can always come back to this. You can publish it. You can invite other people to it, or you can send to Google Drive if you'd like to share that way, which is really cool. So create your own template today, folks. That would be awesome. Create your own, I guess, spread or set suite of branding templates for your own projects or for client projects and what have you. But I'm very excited. Thank you all for joining me today. It's been a blast. I can't wait to see you for next time. But until then, I will take off for now and say see you later. Please stay tuned for all of the wonderful programming that may be coming up next. And I'll see you folks later. Adios, everyone.